If you've ever felt just totally lost in the fitness world, you're not alone. I mean, it's a constant flood of conflicting advice, right? One day it's keto, then it's vegan. There are endless supplements promising the world, and all these trendy workouts that are here today, gone tomorrow. It's enough to make your head spin. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to take a wrecking ball to the wall of confusion the fitness industry has spent billions building, and we're going to get down to the simple, foundational truths that have always worked for getting in shape. The goal here isn't to give you another complicated routine that you'll just quit in 2 weeks. Nope. The goal is to give you clarity, a permanent framework for your health. Okay, let's get into it. This quote, man, this is the perfect place to start because it just hits the nail right on the head. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's a psychological truth we all gotta face. I mean, think about it. If getting the body you want requires some PhD-level understanding of biochemistry and super complex training methods, then, well, it's not really your fault if you haven't made it yet, is it? It lets you off the hook. You can say, oh, I just haven't found the right program for my unique body type, or my genetics are tricky, I need a special diet. Complexity becomes this shield. It protects our ego from the simple, sometimes kind of harsh reality of what it really takes. But that shield, it's often the heaviest damn thing we're carrying.
And there it is, the big secret that isn't a secret at all. The basic principles of building a strong, lean, healthy body, they're not new. They were figured out decades ago, long before Instagram influencers and AI diet apps were even a thing. The truth is so straightforward that it's almost anticlimactic. The source material for this is called Unfortunately, Fitness is This Simple for a Reason. And that unfortunate part is key. It's unfortunate because it rips away all those convenient excuses. It takes the blame off of some complicated external thing and puts the power, and yeah, the responsibility, right back in your hands. And you know what? While that might feel a little scary at first, it should also feel incredibly empowering.
Okay, before we dig into the nuts and bolts of this simple framework, just a quick housekeeping item. If you're getting some real value and clarity from this, do me a favor and take a second to support the channel by hitting that like button and subscribing. It really does help us make more of these. And hey, for those big life decisions outside the gym, if you're in the market for a house or you need to get your life insurance sorted out, my team and I can help you out no matter where you are in the country. You'll find the links for that down in the description. All right, thank you for that. Let's get to it. So let's start by pulling back the curtain on what I call the complexity lie. This is this massive, heavily marketed idea that you're just missing one little piece of secret knowledge, and that you need their special product, their intricate method, or their complicated system to finally see the results you've been chasing. We're going to break down exactly why this lie makes so much money for the industry and why it's so damn good at keeping people stuck. So what's the story they're trying to sell us? What are they really feeding us? Because it's not just protein powder and pre-workout. It's an entire ecosystem, a whole culture that's built on one very specific idea. The industry thrives when you're confused. It actually profits from you feeling like you're not good enough. It needs you to be constantly searching for the next quick fix, the next magic bullet. Why? Because a person who's always searching is a person who's always buying. And here it is, the industry's playbook, laid out plain and simple. First, they sell you complexity. They'll overwhelm you with stuff like advanced training splits, the push-pull legs upper-lower Arnold split, and talk about precise macronutrient timing, making it sound like you have to slam a protein shake within a tiny 7-minute anabolic window after your workout or you'll lose all your gains. Then, what a coincidence, they sell you the solution to that very complexity. A mountain of artificial supplements, most of which are just flavored powders that do next to nothing in the real world. They push harmful gimmicks and trends that promise you can lose 30 pounds in 30 days, knowing full well that's not just unsustainable, it's dangerous. They feed you this myth that you have to live in the gym, training 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, a standard that is completely impossible for anyone with a job, a family, a life. And they wrap that entire package in the beautiful, irresistible promise of a shortcut. And why? Why go through all this trouble to make things so confusing? Well, the answer, as it usually is, comes down to money. Billions and billions of dollars. A confused customer is the perfect customer. If you believe the answer is always just one more purchase away, you'll keep buying the next program, the next supplement, the next subscription box. But a person who understands and uses the simple, effective fundamentals we're about to cover, well, you're a terrible customer for that business model. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You just need a barbell, some real food, and consistency. So here's the bottom line. There is a massive financial incentive to keep you lost, confused, and searching. All right, so now that we get the problem, let's start building the solution. We're going to begin with the first and probably the most important pillar, your training. And the philosophy here is so simple, yet it's exactly where most people get it wrong. The goal is to train smarter, not just harder. It's about how effective your effort is, not just how much of it you can muster. Here's what that looks like in the real world. This is one of the biggest, most damaging myths in all of fitness, the whole more is better mindset. The source material is crystal clear on this. For 99% of people, and that means people who aren't pro athletes or genetic freaks, people with jobs and families and stress, training with weights 3 to 4 days per week isn't just enough, it is optimal. The reason is simple. You don't build muscle in the gym. You stimulate it in the gym. The actual growth, the repair, that happens when you rest and recover. Without enough recovery, you can't get stronger. And, as we're about to see, if you're not getting stronger, you're just spinning your wheels. I want you to burn this concept into your brain. Progressive overload. This is the engine. This is the master key to building muscle. It's not about feeling a temporary pump. It's not about shocking or confusing your muscles by doing a different random workout every single time. It is the simple, methodical, trackable process of demanding just a little bit more from your muscles over time. That's it. That means adding 5 pounds to the bar. It means doing 9 reps this week with a weight you could only do 8 reps with last week. It's that measurable increase in performance that forces your body to adapt by getting bigger and stronger. Literally, everything else is just noise. And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got effective training. The focus is singular. Get stronger. The frequency is sustainable, and it allows for recovery 3 to 4 times a week. The result is real, actual muscle growth. Then on the right, you have what the source calls junk volume. Here, the focus is just on chasing a feeling, the pump. The frequency is way too high, which leads to under-recovery and just feeling beat down all the time. And the result? You burn out, your progress stalls, and you get frustrated. Let's use the source's example. Say today you can incline dumbbell press 45-pound dumbbells for 7 reps. If you just focus on progressive overload for 1 year, you might be pressing 80-pound dumbbells for 10 reps. I can absolutely promise you that your chest, shoulders, and triceps will look dramatically different. That is real, measurable progress. This little story from the source just perfectly captures the temptation of junk volume. He talks about doing this fancy bicep curl routine called 21s, where you do 7 reps in the bottom half, 7 in the top half, then 7 full reps, all in one go. It creates this insane pump, and it feels super hardcore. And sure, you'll probably build some muscle from it, but it's wildly inefficient. Looking back, he realizes they would have gotten way better, more measurable results by just doing 2 or 3 simple sets of heavy barbell curls, focusing on adding a rep, and then adding weight to the bar. It doesn't sound as cool as 21s, but it's what actually works. This right here. This is the ultimate litmus test. This is the most honest mirror you will ever look into. If you've been going to the gym consistently for 6 months, but you're still lifting the exact same weights for the exact same number of reps, your body has been given absolutely zero reason to change. It is that direct. Your training log, whether it's a beat-up notebook or an app on your phone, is the single most honest predictor of your physical progress. Are the numbers going up over time? If yes, you're on the right track. If no, something has to change. And let's just be real for a minute. Your body's ability to recover isn't some unlimited resource that only cares about your workouts. It's a total systemic load. You've got stress from your job, from your business. You've got family obligations. Your sleep probably isn't a perfect 8 hours every single night. Your nutrition is pretty good, but it's not always flawless. Think of it like a bank account. All of these things are withdrawals from your recovery bank account. Trying to pile 6 or 7 intense workouts on top of all that is like trying to write checks that your body just can't cash. That's when progress stalls, that's when those nagging injuries in your shoulders and knees pop up, and eventually you just burn out and quit. The 3 to 4 day model works because it fits into the context of a real, imperfect life. All right, so you're training smart, you're focused on progressive overload, you've got the stimulus for growth totally covered. Now what? What's the next big piece of the puzzle? Fuel. You have to give your body the raw materials to recover and grow. And just like with training, the answer isn't complicated formulas or expensive powders. It's about getting back to basics. It's about eating real food. Look, this isn't a diet in that typical restrictive way we think about it. It's just a guiding principle. Focus the huge majority, we're talking 80 to 90%, of what you eat on simple, single-ingredient whole foods. Stuff our great-grandparents would recognize as food. Things like meat, eggs, fruit, raw honey, potatoes, and rice. So what's the magic trick here? It's not magic. It's just biology. These foods are highly satiating. They fill you up and they keep you full for a long time. And when you're full and satisfied from nutrient-dense foods, you naturally control how many calories you eat without having to obsessively track every single thing that passes your lips. This comparison is so important to understand. Whole foods are high in satiety. Their mix of protein, fiber, and nutrients sends powerful signals to your brain that basically say, hey,
we're good down here, we've got enough fuel, you can stop eating now. And that leads to automatic calorie control. Now contrast that with modern processed foods. These things are literally engineered in a lab to be hyperpalatable. They're designed to intentionally bypass your body's natural I'm full signals. They are super low in real nutrients, but packed with calories from refined flours, sugars, and seed oils. This combination makes them incredibly easy to overeat, which is exactly what the company's making them want. This is what triggers that feeling of constant nagging hunger even an hour after you've eaten a huge meal.
And this brings us right back to the complexity lie. The source mentions seeing people at the grocery store using these complicated AI apps on their phones to scan barcodes and track every macro down to the decimal point. And listen, if you're a professional bodybuilder 3 weeks out from a competition, okay, maybe that level of detail is necessary. But for 99.9% of us, it is completely unnecessary. It's just another layer of complexity that creates stress and becomes another reason to fail. When you build your diet around real, satisfying foods, your body's own amazing biological system, a system that's been fine-tuned over millions of years, does the tracking for you. You eat when you're hungry, you stop when you're full, and you just naturally move towards a lean, healthy body composition.
We're about halfway through, and I just want to pause for a quick second. If this simple approach is cutting through the noise for you and you're finding this helpful, please take a moment to support the channel with a like and a subscribe. And just as a reminder, for expert help with those major life decisions like real estate or life insurance, my team is ready to help you anywhere in the US. All the info for that is right down in the description. Okay, let's get back to the final pieces of this framework. So this next section is all about the foundational biological things that most fitness programs completely ignore. These are the non-negotiables. They don't cost a dime, yet they have this massive, multiplying effect on your results from training and nutrition. This is about working with your body's natural rhythms, not constantly fighting against them. It's time to sync up with our biology. Before we jump into sun and sleep and water, let's talk about the simplest form of activity there is: walking. It's so simple that people just dismiss it. They think it's not real exercise. That is a huge mistake. Aiming for around 10,000 steps a day is an absolute game changer for your body and your health. It's low-intensity movement that helps keep you lean. It helps with digestion, especially if you take a short walk after meals. It lowers your overall stress levels, and it actually helps you recover faster from your hard workouts by increasing blood flow. It is the single best way to burn more fat without adding more fatigue to your system. What in the world does 10 in the morning have to do with getting in shape? Well, the source explains that getting direct sunlight in your eyes, and this is without sunglasses, preferably before 10 a.m., is like your body's master start button. This specific type of natural light hits your retina and sends a powerful signal to your brain to fire up for the day. It triggers the release of cortisol, which gives you energy and focus, and it sets the timer for melatonin release 14 to 16 hours later, which makes sure you get sleepy at the right time. Most of us go from a dark house to a car to a dimly lit office, living under artificial junk light. Our bodies never get that crucial wake-up signal, which leads to those afternoon energy crashes and terrible sleep. 8 hours. We're talking about sleep, and it might just be the single most powerful, legal, free, performance-enhancing tool on the entire planet. Sleep is not just you being unconscious. It's an active state of intense biological repair. It's when your body repairs the muscle tissue you broke down in the gym. It's when it produces the majority of its testosterone and growth hormone, two of the most critical hormones for building muscle and burning fat. The source is clear. If your sleep is bad, everything suffers. Your strength in the gym will drop, your body will be more likely to store fat, your recovery will be shot, and your motivation will just disappear. Making 7 to 9 hours of high-quality sleep a priority is absolutely non-negotiable if you want real results. So how do you fix your sleep? You don't need a fancy sleep coach or expensive gadgets. Here is a simple, actionable checklist straight from the source. First, make your room cool. Your body's core temperature has to drop to get into deep sleep, so aim for around 66 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 19 Celsius. Second, make your room completely dark. I mean pitch black. Use blackout curtains or an eye mask. Any little bit of light can mess with your sleep hormones. Third, get off your phone. Turn off the TV, shut the laptop, avoid that blue light for at least an hour before you want to go to sleep. And finally, you might want to consider supplementing with magnesium glycinate. It can help calm your nervous system and help you get deeper, more restorative sleep. Here's another incredibly simple but powerful biological lever: hydration. Being even just a little bit dehydrated, like 1 or 2%, can absolutely crush your performance in the gym. Your strength, your energy, your focus, it's all directly tied to how hydrated you are. The source gives a dead simple formula to figure out your daily target. Just take your body weight in pounds, divide it by 2, and that's roughly how many ounces of water you should be drinking every day. So if you're a 180-pound person, that's 90 ounces. Get a big water bottle, put some marks on it if you have to, and make sure you finish it. You might find that the reason your workouts have felt so sluggish lately isn't your program, it's that you've been dehydrated the whole time. So we've covered training, nutrition, and biology. We've laid out the simple principles for each one. But there is one final critical element that ties all of them together, and without this last piece, none of the others matter in the long run. This is the master key that unlocks lasting, life-changing results. We're talking about the unbreakable habit of consistency. Just let that quote sink in for a second. You can have the perfect workout plan, you can have a fridge stocked with the best whole foods, you can get morning sun every day and sleep a perfect 8 hours every single night. But if you only do it for 2 weeks or even 2 months, and then you just fall off and go back to your old ways, nothing significant is going to happen. Real, life-changing results aren't built in days or weeks. They're the cumulative product of just showing up and doing the basics consistently, over months and then years. This is the least sexy part of the whole equation, which is exactly why it's the most important and the most overlooked. So, this is it. This is the entire system right here on one slide. This is the simple plan. You lift with intensity, focusing on progressive overload 3 to 4 times a week. You walk every single day, aiming for 10,000 steps. You build the vast majority of your diet around real, single-ingredient foods. You sync your body with its natural rhythms by prioritizing morning sun, quality sleep, and plenty of water. And then, the most crucial step of all, you repeat it. You don't look for a new plan next month. You don't get distracted by the next shiny object. You just stack these simple, effective days on top of each other, week after week, month after month, year after year. That is how you build an incredible physique and robust health that lasts a lifetime. And that's really the ultimate takeaway from all of this. This framework, it's not some new discovery. It's not a fad. It is built on the timeless, unchangeable principles of human physiology. It works. It has always worked. The only reason people miss it is because a multi-billion-dollar industry has convinced them to look for a more complex, more exciting, more expensive solution. They've been sold the lie that simple can't possibly be effective enough, but it is. You now have the correct plan, the simple plan. Before we wrap up with a final thought, just a quick thank you for your time and attention today. If this explainer gave you some clarity and an actionable plan, the best way you can support what we do here is to like, share, and subscribe. And finally, for those real estate or life insurance needs, the links are waiting for you in the description. My team is ready to help. Thanks again for your support. And so, we end here with this question. The knowledge is no longer the problem. The confusion has been cleared away. The plan is laid out right in front of you, and as we've seen, it is simple. The only variable left in the entire equation is you. The focus has to shift now, away from searching for more information and toward taking consistent daily action. The search is over. The work begins. The plan is simple. The real question is your commitment? Thanks for watching.